we recommend using a headphone for our podcast. We also recommend you turn off the light in your room and be alone. It will give you the best experience through the paranormal universe. The history of Leap Castle is a bloody one, even before the castle was built. Two brothers of the O'Bannon clan challenged each other for the leadership of their clan. They were to leap off the rock where the castle was to be built. The surviving brother would claim the leadership as well as the new castle. This all happened around 1250. The castle was named Limey Bannain, or Leap of the Bannons. The O'Bannons were powerful in the area but were the subject of an even more powerful clan, the O'Carroll clan. The O'Carrolls liked the castle, so they simply took it from the O'Bannons. The O'Carrolls managed to keep the castle until 1649, when the castle passed to the Darby family by marriage. But the O'Carrolls had to defend the castle against others during their reign. In 1513, Gerald Fitzgerald, Earl of Kildare, tried to seize the castle. Without success. He tried again 3 years later. During this attempt, part of the castle was ruined. But this is not why it is so haunted today. In the 17th century, the ownership of the castle passed on to the Darby family. One of the O'Carroll daughters married the English Captain Darby. Their son, Jonathan Darby, hid his treasures in the ground on the castle's premises during the English Civil War. He made sure his secret was kept by killing the two men who helped him bury his treasure. Later, he was imprisoned for treason. When, after his release, he returned to the castle, so much had changed he couldn't find his treasure back. Until this day, nobody knows where the treasure is hidden. The walls of this castle have seen their share of violence, but the most gruesome murder committed here was committed in 1532. This murder took place in the castle's chapel, which now is referred to as the Bloody Chapel. Mulrooney O'Carroll, the clan leader back then, died that year and there was much disagreement on who would be his next successor. Officially, Thaddeus O'Carroll, Mulrooney's next of kin and priest of the O'Carroll family, would take the lead, but he never got the chance. Younger brother One-Eyed Tige O'Carroll pushed his blade into Thaddeus' back during Mass. Thaddeus bled to death at the altar in front of his entire family. His ghost still haunts the chapel and he frequently lights the room. Thaddeus is just one of the many ghosts of the castle. In 1922, a workman made a gruesome discovery in a hidden dungeon behind a wall of the Bloody Chapel. There, on the floor, they found an oubliette. An oubliette, from the French word outlier, which means to forget, is a deep hole in the ground where prisoners would be thrown into and were simply forgotten. No less than 3 cartloads of human bones and skeletons were removed from it. Over 150 human remains were discovered. Along with these skeletons, a pocket watch was found. It was dated back to the mid-1800s, so the oubliette was used recently. The bodies were impaled on long, wooden spikes, which were sticking up 8 feet below. Let's hope these unfortunate souls died instantly. Visitors sometimes feel the overwhelming urge to throw themselves down the oubliette. But that's not all. The O'Carrolls hired about 40 members of the McMahon clan to train them in new war techniques. The O'Carrolls won a battle because of their training, so they decided to throw the McMahons a feast to thank them for their help. But the food they were given was poisoned. Just so the O'Carrolls didn't have to pay then. This shows how brutal this clan was back then. Of course, the McMahons still roam the castle. There is a secret room inside the castle which is referred to as the murder hole room. You'd say a murder hole is the oubliette, but it's not. This room's location is kept a secret. Legend says another member of the O'Carroll family was murdered here by another relative. This room is said to be incredibly haunted as well. The spirit of the murdered O'Carroll priest haunts the Bloody Chapel. People claim to see light streaming from its windows, even though there's no electricity here. He's also seen on the staircase. Sometimes the smell of burning rubber is smelled there. The Red Lady is a terrifying yet tragic ghost. She is often seen in the Blue Room, which used to be a nursery, but she's also seen in other parts of the castle. The Red Lady wears a long, red dress, is tall and lean, and she has long brown hair. She is always seen carrying a dagger which she raises as if she's ready to strike. There are two legends concerning this ghost. The first legend says she was a rape victim of one of the O'Carrolls. She got pregnant by him. When the child was born, the O'Carrolls killed the baby with a dagger. In this version, she managed to take the dagger and kill herself with it. In another story, she tried to flee the brutal O'Carrolls. She was chased and eventually stabbed to death. Mildred Darby, I'll get to her later, saw the Red Lady crying in the Blue Room. Leap Castle also houses a dark, ancient entity, called an elemental. This entity has never been human. Before the castle was built, the land belonged to the Druids. The land was very fertile, so it was of great importance to them. The Druids might have called upon an elemental to protect their sacred land. Others say, Gerald Fitzgerald called upon the elemental to curse the O'Carrolls. The elemental has power to destroy the castle from within. The castle was partly demolished at Fitzgerald's second attempt. The elemental doesn't show itself unless it's challenged. It was last seen in 2006. Mildred Darby, 1867 to 1932, also claimed to have seen the elemental. She used to perform black magic. Thank you for watching. We upload new episodes every other day. Subscribe to join the haunted journey.